be weird.
Sure.
So probably a very similar childhood experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody's watching something, you need to stop
Pictures
that.
they like to-
Michael,
Sorry, guys.
All right,
Um,
there we go. All right, we have people pouring in.
or Nashville.
love it.
Oh,
And
Lord.
Atlanta.
Okay.
And then
What are you listening to?
Lake House.
I cannot
Is our
believe.
weekend retreat.
Well, here, I'm going to
Can you
mute you.
stop that?
until you-
Yeah, mute him.
So sorry.
Yeah, we'll mute you until you've stopped.
Yeah, turn off whatever that was.
Opened.
All right. So people are pouring in. We cut it off. All right. He's good. Michael, you good?
Say something.
Let me unmute him. Let's see. We're unmuting him. No?
Are we live?
We are live. Yeah. This is all part of the, this is the new fun process of the internet.
So normally we would be talking about champagne or Prosecco. We would be handing it out from the back, right, Neil?
Yeah, exactly. So this is just a little different as people, I'm still drinking coffee. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and begin to get started. People I know are still coming in. So Michael, can you unmute yourself? I can't seem to unmute you.
Okay.
There,
How's that?
he's there.
I finally did it.
Now
This is
he's
my-
in business.
My first attempt at Zoom. Sorry, guys. I've been
Hey,
using.
it's all right.
All right.
As people pop in, we'll give everybody a little bit of time here. I do want to just highlight. So my name is Neil McKenzie. I head up marketing for Universal Furniture. Obviously, with market being postponed and then canceled, we went ahead and we had lots to share. So we went live with a virtual market experience, which started on Wednesday. And if you haven't done so already, you can go to universalfurniture.com/virtual market. Check in, you can log in. We have great content available, video walkthrough tours of our new products, 360 tours of our showroom. And then we've had a number of educational seminars today, and they are all located in this educational tab on the virtual market website. We are recording all of these for better or worse, and you'll have the ability to watch after the fact. And then on Monday, we're going live with our new special order upholstery offering and giving everybody a little taste as to what that's going to be from us, being manufactured here in Conover, North Carolina. So we have a wonderful panel today. Courtney and Nick, I'll kind of let you guys introduce the key players, and I'll kind of try to keep quiet, but I know there's, I think this is something that we had planned, of course, to do in our learning center in our showroom. And then we've pivoted to the internet, and we're all in respective places at home, social distancing and safe. And I think this will be a good topic and a timely one too, as people are, I think, looking to make sure they are relevant and communicating and again, kind of laying the groundwork for what's next. So Courtney and Nick, I'll let you guys kind of take it away.
All right. Well, thanks, Neil. Will we have this slide in the middle this whole time, or how does that go? Okay. That's easier for me so I can see people. And well, the interesting thing is somehow I'm Christine Page, according to Zoom. I have no idea how that even happens, right? Anyways, but yeah, thanks, Neil. This is, it's kind of fun and funny a little bit for me because, normally we would be in the learning center. Like I joked as we were first starting, we would be handing out Prosecco because that's what we typically do when we're getting these things started. We would also be telling people stick around for lunch afterwards if you haven't eaten yet. And but we'll have to do that at the next market. So. But this is the first time I actually get to share my office. This is not a virtual backdrop for me. This is actually my office here in Denver, Colorado, which I think everybody has a real backdrop. It doesn't look like anybody's got anything fake. Looks like Neil's in his dining room back home.
I'm in my pink office.
You're in your pink office. Okay, I can't see a bed.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a bed back there. I just saw something on the ceiling, so I thought maybe it was a dining room.
Sofa, TV. And this is an office closet that we made. So,
got it. Love it. I love it. Well, we've got a great panel, and Courtney and I have done a lot on press and PR in the past at Universal, and so we thought This is a great topic. Everybody always likes to hear about getting press and PR, and so we thought let's steer the conversation in that way and talk about new business and staying positive as we move forward in this new world of Zoom calls and doing all that kind of stuff. So real quick, my name is Nick May. I'm the host of the Shays Lounge podcast. You can find it anywhere podcasts can be downloaded. And typically when we do have market, I am hanging out at Universal Furniture for lunches and breakfasts and all things, and checking out the showroom. And we do a lot of these kinds of panels. And I don't know about you, but I have been jumping on a lot of these panels recently, and love the fact that Universal has continued to keep us moving forward and having this educational opportunity. And I'm going to pass it over to Courtney, so Courtney can introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Courtney Pisarek, the principal of Inc. Public Relations. We do PR and marketing in the design industry, and have a lot of friends on the call today, so very excited to join. We have Christine Page, obviously, who is Jackson Page, who's a personal friend and neighbor and a fabulous designer. Obviously, Breegan Jane is a strong, wonderful woman we've worked with for many years, and an incredible interior designer. And then my new friend, Michael, who is got his audio going now. We're so excited. It was a process, but anyway, excited to connect and see what you guys want to talk about.
Yeah. So I think we'll go in reverse order. I don't know if this thing shows in everybody's feed the same way it shows in mine. But let's start down in the corner down there. I feel like whenever I'm on one of these things, I'm reminded of watching the Brady Bunch and who's above and who's below and who's next to you. But Michael was actually one of my very first designers that I ever interviewed on the podcast that had any kind of clout. I think, for a long time, I had just done some designers here locally in Denver. I actually used to go over to the Design Center in Denver and do some recording in a tile showroom. That was before I knew anything about, sound acoustics. I couldn't have picked the worst showroom to do audio in. I could have been in like the Rugs, which was like right next door, or something like that. But Michael is down in Atlanta. I tell a story on the podcast every once in a while about, trying to get, like, back then in the day, it was like, if you had a pulse, a lot of that, this has nothing to do with Michael, but if you had a pulse, it was like trying to get people that were breathing on the podcast. And then I got this idea to send out a big blast email. And that's actually when I connected with Michael and a couple other folks. But he has a fantastic design business down there. And actually, Michael and I got to hang out in Atlanta. And I think we actually ended up seeing each other at some other event somewhere else in the world. I don't even remember where it was. But Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, your design business, how long you've been in business, and what do you guys do?
Well, first, thank you for that kind introduction. And it's awesome seeing how far you've come along, too. It's really great listening to your podcasts. But my name is Michael Hobachi, and I have a interior design firm in Atlanta that specialize. We do a range of projects from luxury hospitality to residential. And we recently opened up a showroom and gallery in ADAC. I don't know if you're familiar with ADAC, but it's the Design Center in Atlanta. So we have a 3,000 square foot showroom now where we represent a number of lines from all over the world. And so we're kind of juggling all kinds of things right now. Unfortunately, with COVID, the showroom has closed. That's where I'm sitting right now. This is a partition that's made from recycled glass and steel that I designed. It's in the background in my conference room. And but we're still managing. We're fortunately still meeting with clients and being extra safe and working in new ways and connecting with our clients and new customers.
So let's move down to below me, Breegan Jane. I think the first time I met Breegan was, Courtney was on probably your right arm, and we were in the entryway of Las Vegas Market, whatever that building is on the left when you first come in, where they have a tendency to do a lot of that video production. And, I just fell in love with Briggan, like from day one. She's so cute, so bubbly, and she has so many things going on. Briggan, go ahead and share kind of a little bit about you. What's going on?
Hello, hi Nick, and the feelings are mutual. You were like a little bright light there saying hello, and as is any friend of Courtney's. So thank you for continuing this relationship, and it's been so fun to be on the podcast. So recently, Extreme Makeover Home Edition on HGTV has been where my heart's been living, but my interior design business is in LA, and we are also continuing to work and be safe. But I think the future is here. Zoom's here, the internet's here. So I'm really excited for this conversation and how it's shifted things in a direction I think they were already headed, but very quickly and expeditiously.
Awesome. And Christine Page, how are you today?
I'm good, Nick. How are you?
I am doing well. And you and I actually have never met face to face. I don't believe. I'm correct on that. I think we were actually talking. You were just on the podcast not too long ago. We had a fabulous time, and we actually, I think, had talked about this market getting together in High Point for the first time for drink, and you work with my fantastic friend Christine Phillips, and that's how we got connected.
Yes, that is exactly how. She's fabulous.
So tell us a little bit about you and your design firm and what you have going on.
Well, I am the principal of Jackson Page Interiors, and we are a design firm based here in Los Angeles as well. And we specialize in high-end residential, but we do a handful of retail and commercial spaces as well. And we are plugging along in this new world, that is for sure. Still working away.
Still working away.
Yep.
And I have to say that you and I have mutual friends. You're doing some stuff with my friends over at Benjamin Moore, right?
Yes, I am a proud member of their Designer Alliance program, which they are highlighting every month or so in 2020. They've picked a handful of designers around the country, and they shot videos of us just giving our tips and tricks and advice on design. And mine was released this month. So it's been very exciting and a great opportunity to cross promote. Well,
good timing on this then, right?
Perfect timing. I thought
Exactly.
you planned. No?
There might have been a little planning on that. I don't know. But that actually brings us right into this topic of, and a lot of people I don't believe really think about that, but having and doing collaborations with brands. And I actually may go talk to this guy over here a little bit and ask him, maybe bring him into the conversation. I don't get to do that when we're in the showroom, but now since you are on the call, Neil, I may come up to you and ask you a little bit about this. But doing a collaboration, such as you're doing with Benjamin Moore, how is that helping you get out and get noticed with, PR and press?
Well, I think it's an incredible opportunity. I think both with Benjamin Moore and with other brands that we're working with on partnerships and licensing and whatnot, is that you're able to cross promote. And so they are able to capture our audience and we're able to capture their audience and able to share all of our projects where we use their product and feature their paint. And it's just a wonderful opportunity for the synergy between brands.
And they sent out like a whole video crew, right, to come out and video you?
Yeah, they sent out a video crew to LA. It was super fun. They shot us here in the studio and all around my property and at my home, actually. And it was just super fun. I love the folks at Benjamin Moore. It's been great.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Neil, I'm going to piggyback on that really quick. How have you guys worked with a lot of different people doing collaborations? And what's give me just the behind the scenes, like why does a brand really want to do that with a designer?
Yeah, I think ultimately we're trying to introduce our brand, our products to a new audience that may not be as familiar as what we do, or maybe it's ideally a style direction that doesn't necessarily you wouldn't find normally within our space. And depending on the project, there's also things where you're just trying to go mass in a bigger kind of scale. But I mean, we've done some things obviously you know, across the spectrum really of working with a media brand like Coastal Living Magazine, and, you know, just that whole lifestyle. We think it's, you know, it's a lifestyle that means something different to everybody, but can resonate with everybody. And then the project that we worked on with Nina Magan, and, you know, really adding that European look to our modern category, a look that we didn't have. And really, we had people walking into the showroom based on that style aesthetic and with what she had already done, because she was obviously a credible source in that space where, you know, it kind of led them into Universal for the first time. They'd never been in the building before. So it was a great opportunity to kind of begin to connect. And then, you know, another end of that spectrum is the project we've worked on with Miranda Kerr, a totally different kind of more mass, you know, obviously she's not an interior designer, but comes with her a built-in audience of kind of millennial of, you know, 25 million people that follow her on social media. So it's a different, you know, kind of different animals, each kind of serving a need for us to ultimately expose, you know, what we do at, you know, more or less, they're all very similar price points, just totally different looks, different ways to kind of shop and engage with what we do.
Right. So as I was preparing for this, I was writing down lots of questions and just thinking about all the different aspects of PR and press. And this actually, what we're doing right now is a form of that. And as you're talking about Nina, you know, that relationship started back with us doing a panel and introducing you to her. And so I want to just put it out there. So for people that are out there watching us right now, like, this stuff leads to stuff, right? And to be honest, like, when I'm planning a panel like this, like we've planned for today, I always go back to who have I had on the podcast, and who did I enjoy having a conversation with, and who brings good value when we have a conversation. And so, you know, one of the questions that we may talk about a little bit in here is have you gone after getting on podcasts? But I do want to stress the importance of the fact that getting into a podcast can lead to big things. But we may come back to that. Michael, I'm going to throw it back over to you. And I want to talk about how are you guys using social media in ways now that maybe are taking over some of the ways that you used to just rely on the print side of things?
Well, for one, we're definitely trying to be more active and post more frequently. I think at the end of the day, with the showroom being closed, we've needed to target our clients by letting them know about our products and constantly keeping them updated with new collections and some of the we're putting things on sale and discounting them and just trying to create a little bit more of an awareness. We also focus a lot on creating just beautiful content and posting these designs in a way that really kind of intrigue the customers and get them excited. And I would say it's just a matter of, you know, constantly keeping them updated and showing them what we're up to. So,
do you still continue to go after the print media?
I mean, absolutely. I think it's necessary to do both. With print, it's a matter of just getting your projects photographed. And sometimes we get so bogged down doing the projects and staying busy that it's hard to make time to get the photographers out there to shoot our work. But I think it's, you know, it's great to go after, I mean, to use print and digital, but the digital seems to be the way to go now. Yeah.
Breegan, I'm gonna come over to you, and I want to talk about, you've gotten a lot of press, a lot of different kinds of press. How has, you know, getting in press, and maybe we'll talk about Extreme Home Makeover in a minute, but how did kind of that traditional stuff, how has that really helped you grow your awareness in the market and grow your business?
Well, I think what's interesting is that you're able to reach so many more people on digital if you use it the right way and really target your audience. Same with products. I'm able to connect with people and find out about new things in a much more global perspective by leaning into the digital medium sometimes. And I really enjoy that. I like using both. I think Michael makes a good point. Shooting content that is quality takes time and effort, and obviously is the end result of a very long project with a lot of heart and soul attached to it. But the social can help support that by giving more snippets that are in real time and consistent. So you're engaging with those that you're trying to connect with the big ice cream scoop at the end.
Do you have like a team of people that help you? I mean, obviously you've got Courtney over there, but do you have other people that help? Like, so for me, like we have I have a bunch of people that help me in different ways, depending on what we're doing, whether it's video or written content or, Facebook versus Instagram or YouTube. Like, what does your team look like?
My team right now is small, and my digital team has always been small. I have somebody who proofreads almost everything I write. I am a little bit dyslexic, which helps me in design because I'm able to move things with my brain. But as far as feeling eloquent and educated in written form, I need that support. As well as, for me, digital is the hardest one to give up to a teammate because it is me and it is the stamp and identity of my brand. So I do a lot of what you referenced at the beginning of this panel. You started your podcast in a tile store, maybe not realizing you should have been in the rug store. And that's where I've learned every lesson I have in digital is by doing it and being willing to just hit the ground running. It might not be perfect right away, but at least I own it and feel proud of it.
Absolutely. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like even pretty sometimes. We have to get out there and then we learn, right? We change things. I mean, I remember that makes me laugh actually, as I think back to the very first time I went to High Point, and I had met the folks at High Point when I went to the digital, not digital, what was it called? It was originally called the Bloggers Conference, sorry, brain stuff. And then got invited out, and the very first place we were doing interviews with, and in fact, that's where I met Bobby Burke. And we were sitting in this concrete entryway in like one of the buildings. I don't remember where it's at now, but it was horrible. Like we learned, like I've learned a lot about audio. I want to move over to Courtney real quick, and I want to talk about how has it changed? Like, how has it changed you working with clients today versus maybe 10 years ago when social media wasn't so prevalent? I feel like 10 years ago, social media was just starting and people were like, oh, I don't know if we're going to do this Twitter thing or whatever, but how has it changed?
I think it's changed a lot, and in other ways it's remained the same. I think especially in the design industry, I mean, print is still considered the ultimate sort of complement to our clients. However, I would say that obviously clients are frustrated by the timelines now. Some of the print publications are 12, 18 months out at times. So that has been our biggest hurdle on that front. I think that clients are spending a lot of money to have these projects done, and they're current, the looks are current, and they don't want to wait 18 months to share their investment on Instagram, because really that is where the eyeballs are. So we're finding that for most of our clients now, we're deciding really specifically which projects are a fit for print, and those that are a fit for digital, we're getting those out right away. And I think the clients are happy we're getting, there's not the exclusivity in most cases, or if there is, you can usually get off a project right away, and within the next month or so, you can share those images multiple times with high profile titles. And then our clients are thrilled to drop those into their feeds and onto their stories, which adds some prestige and also generates a lot of eyeballs. We also have started offering social media services. It was a strategy at the beginning of 2020. We brought in actually a person that had worked freelance for us for years. We brought her in in-house to start capturing social media clients, because the line is really getting thinner. I think it's all connected. We work now with our clients, our editorial calendars are fluid on the, you know, the topics that we're sharing line up with what the topics the clients are sharing on social for the most part. So I think it's changed a lot, but like I said, I think traditional media or whatever you want to call it is still hugely important and still a priority for us, which is a good thing.
So you say it's changed a lot, but I bet you there are some things that haven't changed kind of in the overall strategy. What would you say has not changed?
The overall strategy is to, you know, get the name, get the imagery out to the highest profile opportunities. A lot of the things that haven't changed too are some of the titles and many of the editors and the contacts. I mean, we have so many dear friends that are writers, editors. Some have been bounced from title to title, but there are so many people that are still in the game and still writing beautiful pieces and still eager to see, you know, what our clients have to offer. So we're so grateful.
Yeah. Christine, as we've been talking, I realized that maybe, you know, Zoom got us confused because we're the only two blondes. And so maybe that's why they put my name on. I don't know. But anyways, I know that you've gotten a ton of press in some of the big traditional, you know, magazines, House Beautiful, Lux, Traditional Homes and Lifestyle. How has your strategy changed over the last couple of years? Are you still going after those big magazines as much as you were maybe 5 years ago, or has there been a shift?
Well, I think there's certainly been a shift, but I don't think it's in not wanting our projects to be featured in publications, in print. It is more along the lines of promoting yourself and expressing yourself as a brand. And I think being able to do that in an instantaneous fashion online is one thing. And then having that more cachet and exclusivity in print is another. And I think that clients and brands, they're not looking at one thing. They're looking at the big picture and the story of your brand. And so from, you know, new clients that we've had over the past few years or so, they might see us in an article or one of our projects printed, and then they're going to look us up on Instagram and they're going to see, you know, what's our voice and what could we bring to their project. So I certainly think that it's just a really, it's about the cohesiveness that both mediums can bring to your brand.
Yeah, so kind of as a follow-up, I know, you know, you've been working with a PR person for a long time. How does that help you get press? Because I know a lot of people will say, well, I can just do it myself. I know it's not, you know, not everybody's at the level that they should actually go out and hire a PR person, but for you, like, how has it helped you?
Well, for me, it's helped take some work off my plate. I mean, and that is not only just with new introductions and whatnot, but I did a lot of it myself for many, many years. And, you know, it's good in a way that you get to know the editors and you get to know writers and whatnot. And those are relationships that you have. But I think that being able to hand that off to someone is a beautiful and wonderful thing. And being able to hand that off to someone that you trust is just super helpful for your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because I actually don't know the answer to this. Do you work with a PR person?
I don't currently.
Well, good. I want that perspective. I want to know why you don't, and do you find it difficult?
Well, I mean, I'm open to it. It's a matter of just making the time to meet the right person and you know, and have
I'll call you right after.
I'm with Christine. I would love to have somebody that could do those things that do take time. It takes time to make a really good post that has the right tags in it and the right imagery. But I also do worry and agree with Breegan that you know, it's my eye, it's my image and brand, and I know it better than anybody else. And I think it requires finding somebody, as far as Instagram is concerned, finding somebody that really sees eye to eye with your aesthetic and can put it out there, and then you just trusting that person that it's going to continue to you know, have that same appeal that it has when I'm doing it. So
right. Do you have somebody on your team that helps you?
I did. I've had young designers that have worked with me, creating stories and taking beautiful photographs of whether they're vignettes in our interiors or in our showroom. And you know, some of those designers get it and they take the perfect photographs, and then some don't. So it's really a matter of just kind of finding the people that have the same aesthetic and eye that can represent you well.
Right.
And maybe even training them and guiding them to do it the way you would like for it to be done. So
Yeah. Courtney, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was just going to say an advantage to working with the team is that we have a focus. So we understand, we've had clients that will come to us and say, you know, I have a perfect home. I think it's a fit for House Beautiful. And we'll say, have you looked at House Beautiful? Like, look at what you have and then look at House Beautiful and let's talk about it. Like, do you see similarities? What do you see here? So I think that we are able to, we guide our clients into the right opportunities. So we can look at a space and creatively say, you know, either work with this photographer or perhaps this stylist as well. And let's create that look. Like if you're on the verge of the outlet that you're targeting, then let's take it all the way and let's get it done. And we're also up on what opportunities are happening right now. So, you know, especially like during these last 6 weeks since COVID and the lockdown, I mean, we're all very sensitive, obviously, about what sort of content we're sharing. So there have been so many ways that we've had to learn over the last month or so of, you know, how to approach these people and you know, who's furloughed, whose pay has been cut, who's actively looking for stories and that kind of thing. So you need a professional.
Yeah.
I agree.
You do.
We'll talk.
So
Nick,
Yep.
a question that came through in regard to print. You know, what about being featured in trade press, print and or online? So I guess, you know, kind of that trade versus shelter, if you will.
Yeah. So similar to, well, I would put a podcast in that category. And then like Designers Today with our good friend Jane Dagmy. Those are really great opportunities. Was there a question behind it, or was it just more of like, don't forget that?
I think just the differentiation between the difference, obviously, you know, there's differences between the shelter pubs and the audiences, but, you know, I think maybe Courtney, you know, maybe this is one for you, for your clients, you know, that opportunity of being featured in a Designers Today versus El Decor, kind of depending on the project and obviously, you know, what you're trying to achieve, but, you know, what's your take on, you know, the strategy of maybe both of those, the trade versus consumer press in print?
Right. Well, it's a somewhat different audience. Obviously, it's a trade audience. We put a huge emphasis on the trades. We have amazing relationships. We think that those are so important. Occasionally, we have a client that doesn't see the worth or the value in networking within the industry, but we find that not to be the case whatsoever. I mean, I don't know a person that goes to a market or does something like we're doing today that doesn't have something positive come out of it. So, I mean, I really do believe that trade, you know, when you have a product, obviously, that's being sold to the trade, it's a no-brainer. But even when you don't, raising your profile within the industry is the smartest thing you can do. One, it's so much fun, and we've all made so many friends doing this. But also it leads to your next job. It leads to your next opportunity, whatever that might be. It's an endless opportunity. You know, when you put the word out about what you're doing and who you are, people tend to respond. And so we're big fans.
Yeah. So Breegan, I want to go back to you. I want to ask you a little bit about Extreme Makeover. How has that impacted your world? And then as a follow-up, because at some point that will probably end. And then how are you trying to think through how to leverage that for business down the road?
Yeah, it's always interesting getting new opportunity. And I think when new opportunity shows up on your door, inevitably there's something you have to give up. And for me, I physically had to be on set to film and have a very active interior design business. And I think what makes that value come out through TV and wanting to seek those opportunities are the ability to translate those into new brand relationships that can highlight your talent in different ways that can reach more of a mass medium. But it's something I've been preparing for a really long time. You know, you want to grow your business in a way that you're able to take those opportunities and that people are looking at you to take those opportunities. You know, we talk about working with a PR agency or publicist, and I think that trust and wisdom have been something that somebody on this panel lends me very well, because as a new designer, you go to these markets or you're involved in the industry, but first and foremost is my clients, right? And so I don't always have the ability to seek what it is I want out of the industry itself because I'm so overwhelmed. And so having somebody to streamline what it is I want to achieve and be able to trust that with wisdom. I mean, Courtney, who I work with, is somebody I identified a year before I started working with her. I don't know if you knew that, Courtney, because I saw what she was doing. I saw who she was working for. And I went, when I'm ready, that's who I want. And I don't think people talk about that enough. Like our goals, even if they're to get into these trade publications or to work with a brand, for me, there's something that take a lot of effort and time and are sometimes slow growing, but have ended me in the rewards of an amazing TV show I'm so happy to be a part of. But it's inevitably a part of the growth, I hope, and it will end one day.
Yeah. Christina, I want to ask you a little bit about kind of the forgotten social media stepchild that not a lot of people talk about, but I have been in circles recently and hearing some really good things. I see that you've got, that you utilize Pinterest. I haven't been to your boards or anything like that, but I did see the Pinterest little icon. How are you using it, and has it been effective for you?
We use Pinterest more as an in-house tool with our clients. I mean, we do have some boards and whatnot that we share publicly, but we also have more private boards that when we're working with clients and they see something on whatever form that they see it on, that they're able to share it with us through Pinterest. So we do use Pinterest. There have certainly been some late nights that I've been on my phone and I can't get off of it and I'm just pinning things, but that's primarily how we use Pinterest.
Okay. Is anybody else on here, Neil included, is anybody using Pinterest as a active marketing channel to bring in new business? No?
We are. Oh, go ahead.
Michael?
Neil?
Michael?
Okay. Well, I mean, I would say that like Christine, we also use it as a tool with our clients, and we create private boards where we can actually interact with the client and you know, they can upload images and vice versa, and we can comment back and forth. But we've learned ways. I mean, we started on Pinterest, gosh, when it first years ago, and at one point we had 1 million monthly viewers per month. I do think that ever since from the last few years, it's declined every year because of Instagram. We're down to like 600,000 monthly viewers. So I felt like, why not take advantage of that? And if you're going to actually pin images, why not pin images from your own website or from your own e-commerce site, so that you're drawing those, like some of those viewers can go directly to your website versus going to another site if you're pinning off of that. So that's how we've used it for that.
Neil?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I mean, obviously we use it a lot. We see a lot of traffic come in through that platform. And again, it's just kind of thinking about your overall media mix and kind of digital ecosystem of how you're gonna set it up to pull in traffic. But I mean, you know, right now, obviously more people are working from home, and, you know, we've been able to, you know, create different boards around the products that we have that could make a really good working from home environment without it being, you know, some 1950s study, you know. So I think there's different ways to kind of go about that. But yeah, we see an awful lot of traffic pull in, because not everybody's going to use one thing. So I think it's a matter of just kind of diversifying yourself enough without over-investing in spinning wheels. But, you know, if you can measure those tools, which all of these are digital tools, you can measure. So I mean, I think the more you can kind of measure and you can kind of see the return on the investment of time that you're making in those. And we definitely see that with Pinterest, and certainly Instagram probably, is the biggest of them all for us. But, it's just kind of finding that balance.
Yeah. Christine, I want to go jump down to you. I want to go back over to our topic we were talking about earlier with Benjamin Moore. How did that relationship start? Because I think a lot of people would love to be working with brands in that way and in other ways like licensing stuff. But how did that conversation start with Benjamin Moore and you?
Well, it actually started about 5 years ago. I met Elaine McComb, who was working with Benjamin Moore for many years at the Leaders of Design Council, one of the trips, I think we were in Greece, and we just hit it off and started a wonderful friendship. And over the years, she noticed how much I used Benjamin Moore in all of our projects, and that started the conversation. And when this came along, she asked me to, be a participant in it, and I was very honored. So, it's one of those things that we were talking about, like, do you work and do you grow those relationships within the trade? And I think it's just so important, not only just from a business perspective, but just a personal perspective as well. I think it's just part of the big picture.
Yeah. Michael, are you guys doing any kind of brand collabs right now?
We haven't. I would love to. I mean, we do. I've always designed product and furnishings since I was 17 years old, and so we're designing some lines. We hopefully will be doing a new collection for a pretty well-known rug company. I can't say who right now. We've done some tile collections for a company called Tile Bar out of Manhattan. And so that's kind of our way of getting our brand out there, is doing licensing deals. And I'm doing various types of collections, whether it's furniture or tile. So.
Yeah. Courtney, I want to ask you a little bit. I want to go back to another topic we talked about a little bit ago. And that's, this whole idea of doing panels and getting exposure at markets. I know that you do a lot with your clients at the markets. Why is that important, and what kind of benefits do you see your clients getting out of them?
Well, going back to the middle of March when everything locked down, I was devastated. It was one thing after the next that was canceled. It was so much of our focus is really on what the next event is, when our next opportunity is to mingle with the industry and to participate. So I think it was in that moment, that period of time where I was initially very stressed and very concerned about what was happening, that it dawned on me what a huge part this is of our business this actually really is. So to answer your question, I mean, I think it's vitally important. I think that getting yourself out there and, again, telling people what you're doing and how you think and getting people to know you a little bit is really important. So if you can make people always, like, clients will ask us, do you think it's worth my time and money to take this trip? It's like, that has to be your decision. You have to believe it. We have been effective at getting brands to assist and participate in some of those payments to offset that. But we always tell clients, ultimately, you have to go and you have to want to go. You have to look at what you're doing. We'll make suggestions on things we want you to do, and we'll do our best to rope you in. But the point is to go there and to talk to people. You're walking down the street at any market, or like you talked about in, the courtyard of the buildings in Vegas, wherever we are, talk to everyone you see in the elevator, introduce yourself, see who they are. You never know, you just never know what's around the corner. So I think it's really important.
Yeah. I do want to just put it out there. I'm trying to be mindful of the time. In about 5 minutes, I'd love to open it up for more questions. So if you have a question for anybody on this panel, please put it in the chat bar, and we'll turn our attention over to that. Breegan, I want to ask you, are you guys, so on this lockdown, I guess you guys can't be filming shows or anything like that?
Well, it's been very interesting to watch sort of those opportunities shift and see what's available through mediums like this and self-submissions, because I think ultimately all these brands are do want to reach people and we still have the ability to upload. So I'm getting into that right now and converted my guest room to a little area where I can create content in that form. But everyone's sort of doing the podcast out of the tile room right now because none of us were prepared for this.
Yeah, you got to keep the boys out, right?
Oh yes, it's been very interesting with 2 young boys at home on top of all of that.
They're the cutest. I mean, they're probably even cuter than my boys. Of course, my boys are like old and like smelly teenagers now, but your boys are still little and cute.
I would take teenagers right now locked in for 4 and 6.
Right.
But yeah, I'm trying to enjoy it as well.
Is there anything as you look back over your career, was there any like one big piece that you're like, oh, that's the one piece that made me, or was it just a compilation of all the different things?
I think it's been the compilation, but also I have a willingness to work hard. And I think that that's sometimes underrated. And at the end of the day, that has always worked well, to be willing to be humble, learn, and then just work hard.
Okay. So I'm going to open this question up to anybody and everybody who wants to answer. This is more of a, you want to bring something up real quick?
I just was going to say, I wanted to throw some attention to Neil Mackenzie because it's so innovative what you're doing. We saw all of the vendors and the manufacturers that we work with bail, and I understand why they did it, but they all pushed to fall. And Neil was like, we're not doing that. We're going to make a virtual market. And I'm interested and excited to see how it goes for you. So maybe could you tell us a little bit about your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. We started on Wednesday, and I think for us, we were in a, really because of what we were doing and what we were coming out with, we had a lot of our content coordinated and executed. So we were in a good position from a content standpoint. And when that decision was made, we felt like, you know what, we do a lot of this stuff in advance of markets to get people to physically come into the building. Why not just bring it to their house? And for us, it frankly seemed like kind of a natural transition. It didn't seem that different from what we would normally be doing. And obviously these things are very different, and we've had to lean on some, technology a little bit different, but I think the reaction from our customers and designers, and hopefully I think it introduces us to new people that, not everybody gets to also come to North Carolina in the fall and the spring. So I think this also creates an opportunity, moving forward on how do you bring, bits of the experience to them to self-serve, at their own pace. So yeah, we're excited about kind of the reaction that we're getting, and we hope people, enjoy it. And if they want to order something, that's great too. So
yeah. So my last question for anybody who wants to answer, I'm obsessed right now with video. So this is awesome. I've been ordering like new equipment and microphones and all these kinds of things, and going after YouTube. And have any of you guys used that as a social channel to really put some content up? Anybody using video in that way instead of, I'm not talking about Instagram stories or any of that kind of stuff, but like specifically YouTube and like longer video format?
We have a video up on YouTube through the House Beautiful Show House that we did last year with Carisha Swanson moderating, and that was a wonderful opportunity. And I love how it's permanent and out on YouTube, and you can refer people to it at any point. So I think that's been wonderful. We haven't specifically done things just from Jackson Page Interiors, but we are collaborating with people to do the content. Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, Breegan, you're on video all the time. Any thoughts on doing stuff on your own?
I think it's just been an interesting learning curve. Being on set is one thing, or having the support of a team to do it is one thing. Right now, trying to learn to do it on your own is fun and interesting, but I think that it's creating very honest, genuine content, and I enjoy that. There's no other way to do it. We're all at home. So people connecting with products, it's really things that are right here at part of me. And I hope that that's sort of the result of this moment and video content, is that it is getting to back more genuine and less commercial.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm hearing from brands is that we can't get enough video content. So I know the brands are starved for this kind of thing. I know it's one of the conversations I'm having with Benjamin Moore right now. how can we create some more content? Michael, any comments on video from you?
Not yet, but I'm open.
You've got a face for video. Unlike me, I've got a face for podcasting.
Well, thank you. Better making the time to do it, you know?
Courtney, Courtney, are you steering anybody in video at all? Any thoughts?
I've been doing a lot of YouTube workouts lately, but that's about it.
I hated my gym went to the Zoom ones, and I just couldn't stand. I was like, I feel like I haven't worked out in like a week because I just don't like the Zoom ones. But I'm ready to get back in the gym. That is for sure. Neil, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, two more. One, and this is a question really for everybody. If you can't afford an agency, any kind of, what do you do? And I think Michael, you might be, although I think you can afford one, but perhaps maybe you want to address that.
If we can't afford an agency, say again?
Yeah. In terms of getting press, if you don't have an agency of record, a PR agency of record, what are you doing to kind of just
you just got to get out there. You got to go to lots of industry events. You got to schmooze with the right people. I mean, know the right publishers and editors, and make sure they see your work. At the end of the day, if you have great content, good design, and it gets in front of the right people, I think that's the best way to get it out there. But I'm definitely open to hiring PR and hopefully Courtney and getting
Done deal.
So
Neil, I'd love to speak to that in that I don't think that it should hamper you whatsoever if you're not able to, or you're not at the place in your career to hire someone. I think that there are publications and online avenues want content. And I think as long as you take great photographs, I think that's the key. I think you need to hire the best photographer that you can afford and showcase your projects the best that you can do it. And a lot of photographers as well that are regularly in publications, they're going to help you sell your product or sell your project to publications because it benefits them as well. So I think that's the key, is that you just have to photograph as beautifully as you can and get your work out there and reach out to editors. You don't even have to be in the same city. I mean, you don't have to meet these people in person. Follow them on Instagram, comment on their posts. You can definitely virtually meet people nowadays that you didn't have the opportunity to, 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I would say, so before, I just saw a comment that came through from Jane Dagme. She said to look at, get a copy of Amy Fleury's book, Recipe for Press, for interior designers. I think that's her latest one. Jane kind of beat me to the punch on that, but I was trying not to, step on anybody's toes. And but what a great resource. And I would say from somebody that gets pitched from people all the time is the biggest thing I can say from a publisher of content is make sure that you understand the publication that you're going after, understand their editorial mission, what they're looking. I think Bregan was talking about that with different magazines as far as the House Beautiful, like, is it a House Beautiful house? Like, would that fit in there? For a podcast, don't send me a big long email about a project that you want to talk about on my podcast, because obviously you've never listened to my podcast because we don't talk about that. Like, we talk about the business side of interior design. So those are little things that I would say, but definitely get Amy Fleury's book, Recipe for Press.
And I would say too, what Christine said is, if you do a beautiful project, make it look beautiful, whatever it takes. Figure out a way to get some, capture those images well and beautifully with proper lighting. And then know your audience. What Nick said is, go on people's feeds, figure out who they are. Do they have a dog? Maybe. I mean, we're not above talking about people's pets on our emails and our outreach sometimes. And, people love that. There's a woman recently, we just secured something. She has a Chihuahua, and so do I. So I just wrote about her Chihuahua in the note, and she wrote right back and sent photos, and it was like an instant friendship. So I think the upside of this quarantine, and really, as we've all said, it's been heading in this direction anyway, but like, we're making friends virtually now. And I feel like these are relationships that will be stronger, when we do someday see each other again in person. it's going to be really amazing. So I feel like we're adapting well as an industry. I'm excited to be a part of it. Feels better.
Well said. Well, this was great. I do want to just make everybody aware we have recorded this session, and we will make it available for people via our market site, our virtual market website, so you can go and we can put, if there's any links, Courtney or Nick, that we want to include in, we will do that, but we'll also include everyone's handle so we can make sure that you can kind of connect. And again, I appreciate all of you making time for us today to do this. This was great. We really appreciate the support. And yeah, like Courtney said, we look forward to physically seeing you in person sometime soon. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. This was awesome. Good job. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a good one.
Stay
Bye.
tuned
Bye,
for
guys.
Hello.
Stay safe.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Wash those
Bye.
hands.
Wash those hands.